Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm actually going to be combining two wrap-ups, both May and June. So let's go ahead and jump into this. I was about halfway through the middle of June when I realized I never uploaded a May wrap-up. So I do apologize for that, but I kind of also feel like the reason why that didn't happen is because I didn't really read that many books. As I'm looking at my list, I only read about 6. So I feel like that's not that much to talk about. So definitely let me know in the comments like what type of video you prefer, either monthly wrap-ups or recent reads. Definitely let me know. So I'm going to just give a few stats, very small, nothing like too crazy, but I'm going to give you page numbers, the amount of books, and then I'm going to go in chronological order of each book that I read. Now, I will say this, I don't have most of the books with me. They're either borrowed library books or I just don't have them anymore, like I swapped for them. So I'll definitely let you guys know which ones are which. So let's go ahead and jump into it. For the month of May, I read a grand total of 2,418 words and a total of 6 books. And then for the month of June, I read 7 books and a total of 2,028 words. So the first book I want to talk about is actually my new favorite. I'm pretty sure I've mentioned it quite a bit on my channel, but it's actually 11/22/63 by Stephen King. This book really blew me away. It's definitely like one of my favorite, if not my favorite book ever. And it's weird because it's in a genre that I don't ever read, which is like historical fiction, sci-fi, time travel type books. But this book I love. I rated it, I think I gave it 4.5 stars, but I think I'm just going to go ahead and bump it up to a 5. The reason why I rated it a little bit lower is because there are times in the book where it's a lot of history. It's 850 pages long, and there's a lot of history that's discussed throughout the book, and I'm not a big history person, but this book is just so good. I would highly recommend it. Stephen King did a phenomenal job, and he has this this talent where he makes you connect with each and every character that you come across. So cannot explain it anymore, but this is a wonderful book. Thank you for everyone who recommended it, and definitely go check it out. The next book that I want to talk about, I actually already don't own anymore because I swapped it for another book, but it is Bunny by Mona A. Wad. I ended up giving this one 2 stars. I know a lot of people love this book, and it is one of those books where you're either going to love it or you're going to hate it. Like, there is no middle section, but I wouldn't say I hate it. I just did not enjoy it. Like, it was just a little too weird for me. Like, I like things to be a little bit realistic in a way, and this one was just so far out the box that I just couldn't. So I don't even know how to describe this book, but basically you're just gonna have to read it for yourself. I can't explain it because it's one of those books where if you say too much, you're giving it away. So definitely go check it out. I'm glad I read it, but I would recommend it to other people who like crazy weird horror books. Definitely check it out, but this just was not one that I liked. So the next book I actually do have, I have it right here, but it is I'm Thinking of Ending Things, and this one is a super short book. It's only 210 pages, and this one definitely had me thinking a lot towards the end. Like, I really didn't know how to rate it, but I gave this one 5 stars. And I loved this book. For one, it's such a small book. It gets to the point very quickly. I listened to the audiobook while reading it. And I think that's one of the keys that you should really follow through, because at the end, it definitely creeps you out. It's about a girl who is going home with her boyfriend to meet his parents at this super creepy farm. And then as they're leaving, they stop at the school, and then like shit gets real. And it definitely has a very ambiguous ending. And I loved it. It's definitely worth your read because, again, only 210 pages, and look how big the font is. Like, you can definitely get through this in like a day. The next one, I don't have the book, but I read it on my Kindle from NetGalley, but it is What Lies Between Us by John Mars, and I gave this one 4 stars. I did really enjoy this one. This was my first John Mars book. I think I'm going to like the one better whenever I get around to it, but this one focuses around two women's relationship, and one of them is kind of locked up in the attic in a way because something happened between the two. I don't want to spoil it, so I'm just gonna be very vague about that one. I really enjoyed this one because I really enjoy a two-person point of view story where it kind of goes back and forth, and then there's stuff that happened in the past. So I definitely really enjoyed this one. The next one I borrowed from my friend Kayla was A Stranger on the Beach by Michelle Campbell, and I only gave this one 3 stars. It's very plain, very basic. Like, you really can't expect much from this story. My friend Kayla, she loves Michelle Campbell, and I think Michelle Campbell is just an author that I'm just not ever going to enjoy. I've read It's Always the Husband, and then I also read the e-arc of The Wife Who Knew Too Much, and I don't know, like, her writing style and her stories are just very basic and kind of boring in my opinion. So if, you know, I feel like she's a great intro author to thrillers, so definitely check her out, but I just didn't like this one. This one, like, the message is clear as day that, you know, it's on the cover. So anyways, and the last book that I read for May was The Guest List, and this was a book of the month pick, and I was so excited to get to this one. I did rate it 4 stars just because it really did have a great ending. However, I don't think I like the multiple point of view story because I got very confused over what was happening, who was talking, and that's what makes me a little hesitant about getting into the one by John Mars, is because there's so many people that you have to follow. But I will say, had a great ending. I know a lot of people loved and raved this book. I would definitely check it out, but I ended up swapping for it. I don't plan on rereading it, and yeah. Next, we are moving on to my June picks. So the first book that I decided to read was He Will Be My Ruin by K.A. Tucker. I was going to save this for a romance-a-thon, but I was really excited to read this one just because a lot of people have compared this one to Verity, like as far as like a thriller type romance. And I really did enjoy this book, but I'm one of those people where I do not predict endings at all. And I kind of saw like the whodunit quite early on, so there weren't any like shocking surprises or anything like that, but I did love the romances between this one, and I think if you're looking for a thriller and a romance wrapped in one, I think you're gonna like this one. But for me, this one was just an okay story. Next, I read another e-arc, which is Hurry Home by Rosnay, I think is the author. I forgot to write it down, but this one had a very interesting sister relationship where both of them have a secret in the past. And I noticed, what did I rate this one? I think I gave it 3 stars. Yeah, like right in the middle. Like, it had a good premise. It had a very basic like story in the past can't be brought up, but then like stuff in their past pops up type of deal. And I love the whole like sister relationship between the two, but I don't know, it just like the pacing was a little off in my opinion. Like, I felt like it would like speed up quite a bit throughout the story and then slow down quite a bit, and it was very like incohesive as far as like the story would navigate through the story. But yeah, just an okay thriller. So yeah. The next I borrowed from my friend Kayla, which is The Kind Worth Killing by Peter Swanson. I'm not going to give too much details on this one because I did a whole reading vlog on that one, which I will post up here. It also in the description is below. So if you want to check out my thoughts and see me kind of read the book throughout, definitely check out that video as well. The next book that I want to talk about is The Roanoke Girls by Amy Engel, and I loved this book. This one is so twisted and messed up. I gave it 5 stars. It's not for the faint of heart. It's definitely twisted and messed up, but one cool thing is you know exactly what's happening in this book. It's just not spelled out for you. Like it's not like this is what's happening, but you know what's happening, and it's so twick and like it's so weird. Like, I loved this story. I would highly recommend if you can handle twisted, sick things, definitely check this one out. Again, this one was a very short book, so definitely highly recommend. Next, I actually read 2 books for Romance-a-thon. I have November 9 by Colleen Hoover, which I absolutely loved. Like, this is probably, it's not my favorite. I loved this story so much, like, but it's not my favorite. All Your Perfects is my favorite, but this one, I was crying, I was laughing. Colleen Hoover just can't do no wrong, so I would definitely check this one out. It's a very adorable, heartfelt relationship between 2 people, and I just loved this book. And the last book that I read for Romance-a-thon is Undercover Bromance by Alyssa K. Adams. I loved the Bromance Book Club. Loved it. Gave it 5 stars. This one, however, 3 stars. Unfortunately, this one just did not work for me. And I'm going to try to say this without giving spoilers away. So if I spoil it, I'm sorry. But in the first book, you're following Thea and Gavin, who Gavin is trying to repair his marriage with his wife because she wants a divorce. So this one follows Mac and Liv, who are not married, and it's a very hate to love romance. I don't mind hate to love romances, but this one, I just didn't see the chemistry between the 2. Like, it was a very cheesy, hate to love, I don't even know how to explain it, but like, I just didn't like the 2 characters together. Like, I think they're great separately, but together I just don't know. I don't know if I'm going to pick up the 3rd book. I'm still thinking about it, but I don't know. And then the very last book that I want to talk about is actually a library book. I finished it in 1 day. And again, this is not my copy, nor did I do this to the book, but I wanted to give this book a try, this book style. So I have the life-changing manga of Tidying Up by Marie Kondo. Again, this is not my book. I borrowed it from the library. I specifically saved it just so I can show y'all and I can return it to the library. Anyways, I felt like this one was kind of hard to rate. It was just okay. I mean, it's a book about tidying up, so like it's really hard to rate. I enjoyed this book so much, so I guess 4 stars maybe? I don't know. But again, this is a graphic novel about Marie Kondo's the life-changing magic of tidying up. I felt like the story was cute. The graphics were really nice. I did learn a little bit of stuff on like how to tidy up. Yeah, if you're interested about the Marie Kondo tidying up method but don't want to read the whole book, I would recommend the graphic novel. So, and that, my friends, is my May and June wrap up. Definitely let me know what you guys think, and how do you guys want these wrap up videos in the future? Would you rather do like a recent reads where I talk about like the last 5 books, or do you prefer month by month? So definitely let me know. Don't forget to follow me over on Instagram for more bookish goodies, and I will see you guys in my next video. And until next time, bye.